Hi folks, and welcome to another D French guitar lesson. Today's lesson is especially designed for that student who is picking up the guitar for the very first time, because we're going to learn 3 simple chords that will allow you to play hundreds of songs after this one lesson. Okay, you ready to get started? So the chords we're going to be learning today are the G, C, and D7. And in normal playing, they would sound like this. But since this is your first lesson and you're just picking up the guitar for the first time, we're going to simplify those chords and just play an abridged version of them. Okay, so the first chord we're going to learn is a G. And we're going to play this by taking our third finger. This is our first, second, third, fourth, a third finger, putting it on the third fret of the first string. That is a high G. If you play that, that's your G note. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the top 4 strings along with this note, and that's going to give us a G. Okay, so go ahead and strum that. And if you're getting kind of a muting sound, that means you're not pushing hard enough. It's very important that you always put your finger right behind the fret. That's where you're going to get the best sound. If you put it here, you're going to get kind of a distorted sound. You have to push harder. So if your finger's right behind the fret's going to do a lot of the work for you. Okay, so that's our G. Again, we're going to start here on the open D string, or the 4th string, and we're going to strum straight down. That's a G major chord. So again, let's do that one chord. Alright, the next chord we're going to do is a C major chord. And to do this, we're going to lift our third finger off the first string. We're going to put our first finger on the first fret of the second string, and that's a C. And with this chord, since it's an abridged version or a simplified version of the C, we're only going to play the top 3 strings. So go ahead and put your pick on the third string, which is an open G, and then strum straight down. And it's always good to kind of have your pick. You don't want to have too much of a grip on it. I'm using the medium right now, but when you're first starting out, sometimes you want to use a thin pick because you're going to have a tendency to grip it a little bit harder, and that thin pick's going to flex a little bit for you, so the sound's not going to sound so rigid or so clumsy. So again, put your pick on the third string, which is an open G, and strum it straight down. Okay? And again, if you're not getting that sound, if you're getting kind of a muted sound, that means you're not pushing down hard enough. Also, what happens sometimes is if you're not playing right on your fingertip and going straight down on the string, your finger will cover up the open string and get that muted sound. So if you're getting a sound like this, you got to go back and evaluate, okay, what's happening here? It could be that you're not pushing hard enough on this note. That's getting that muted sound. And it could be that your first finger is lying over the open E string, and that's getting that muted sound. The idea is you want to have all the strings ring out, especially these open strings. They're very beautiful and big, so you want to make sure that they ring. So again, put your pick on the third string, which is an open G, strum straight down. Okay, now the next chord, the last chord we're going to learn today is a little more complicated, but what we're going to do is keep our first finger here on the first fret of the second string, that's C. We're going to take our second finger and put it over here on the third string, second fret, that's an A. And then our third finger is going to come down here and play the F sharp, which is your first string, second fret. And that's called a D7. And to strum that, we're going to start here on the 4th fret, or the 4th string, and go straight down. That's our D7. And don't worry about what the chords mean, and we'll get into that in later videos on what a 7th chord means, or a minor chord, or a major 7, or any of that. So right now, just remember how to play it. It's more important that you start playing than understanding the theory behind it, but you will. So again, D7, put the pick on the 4th string, strum it straight down. Now with this one, since you have 3 fingers on the guitar, you're probably going to get some muting, and that's okay, that's normal. Your fingers are still building up their calluses and they're still getting stronger. So in the beginning, it is going to sound a little muted. That's normal. Don't get frustrated. Don't give up. It takes time, and there's no shortcut in building up your fingers. It's just you got to do it more and more. The more you do it, the better it gets. But I'm sure right now you're probably feeling a little bit of pain right here because your fingers are soft and sensitive. Okay, so we're going to start here on the 4th string again. This is a D7. And we're going to strum that. Okay. And then when we're done with this, we're going to lift our 1st and 2nd fingers and slide our 3rd finger back to that G, which is the 3rd fret of the 1st string. And we're going to strum back, and we're back where we came from. Okay, so let's go over those chords again. We have a G major, C major, D7, and a G major again. Okay, so those are the first 3 chords you're going to need to learn, and with those 3 chords, there are hundreds and hundreds of songs. If you look in the description of this video, I'll put a list of all the different songs you can play with just those 3 chords. And it's kind of nice. It's called a 1-4-5 chord progression. And they call it that because it's using the 1 chord of the G, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. So it's tonic, subdominant, and dominant. And don't worry again what those mean, just understand this is called a 1-4-5, and the most pop, rock, blues, and country songs are going to use that chord progression. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work on our strumming pattern. And in the beginning, we're just going to use what are called quarter notes. So if we have a beat that's 1, 2, 3, 4, the quarter note's going to be that beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. And to play that on the guitar, we just strum down. So let's start with the G. We're going to do 4 quarter note strums. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, go ahead and try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it together. I'm going to count you in. 1, 2, ready, go. Remember, you're starting on the 4th string. Don't play these low 5th and 6th strings because they're going to sound muddy. If you play those without playing the notes, it's not going to work. Okay, so again, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to switch to our C. Lift the 3rd finger, put the 1st finger down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, you're just playing the top 3 strings. Then we add our 2nd and 3rd fingers to the 2nd fret, and we got our D7. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we lift our 1st and 2nd fingers and slide our 3rd finger back to the G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's do that together. We're going to do all 3 chords in a chord progression, we call it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And again, if you're getting some muting, especially on that D7, if you're hearing something like that, you got to adjust these fingers. Make sure you're arching them, getting enough space between them, and going straight down on the fingertip. We don't want to play on the soft pad of the knuckle. You want to play right there on the fingertip. Okay, let's do it again. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Again, there are hundreds of songs you can use these 3 chords to play. For example, Brown Eyed Girl. Hey, where did we go? And you can play Johnny Be Good. So again, I put a list of songs down there that those 3 chords can be used for. Let's do it again. We're going to start on a G. 1, 2, ready, go. Alright, so now let's work a little bit on our posture and our positioning. I like to have my right arm kind of fit right here on the corner of the guitar so that when I'm strumming, the pick's going right over the sound hole here. And I always like to pick straight down. Keep your arm parallel with the strings and just go straight down in one motion, kind of like a pendulum swinging. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so again, let's review. We're playing 3 chords. It's a 1, 4, 5 chord progression. And the chords are G, C, D7, G. And to play it as a progression, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's your first guitar lesson. With those 3 chords, it's a good way to get started. The next video you're going to watch is on pivot chords. We're going to add another chord to that chord progression. We're going to build the G and the C to completion. So I hope you found this useful. If you want to find more videos, click on the link below. I also have links to my books that you can find and other lessons that you can find online. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.